How do you leave your kid in a car? I wouldn't leave my purse alone,
I know.
let alone a kid.
This is why we have moms, because dads, we're screwballs. We just, you know what I mean? I think to myself, oh my God, I could have made a gaffe. It's possible I could have done something horrible like this, but for the grace of God, I've not gone there.
We have to be very cautious about crucifying this man who is grieving. It hurts my heart to think that anybody could do this to a child. And I know there are evil people out there, but look, we are saying that there are inconsistencies or, oh, he's acting strange. None of us know how we would act if we had to open the back door. But the police don't know how you act when you open your door and your child is dead. We need to take a minute and just pause before we say that this man has killed his child. He is hurting, and I hurt for him.
We had our triplets when they were maybe 1.5, 18 months, 2 years old, something like that, at sort of a daycare operation. Let himself out of the place and walked out onto the freeway.
Ooh, gosh.
Thankfully, a lovely family picked him up and started searching around for where there were children, and for the grace of God, found this. I know, it's an unbelievable story. There are angels watching over little children. It's amazing it doesn't happen to more of us.
Most oftentimes when fathers decide to kill their children, it's because they feel like they've lost aspect or lost control over something in their lives, that they can't no longer financially care for the child, that they feel overwhelmed. And so these may be factors here.
Did he also search how to revenge against the wife who's leaving me? This is likely a marriage issue, folks, seriously. And I agree with Deneen. If you add that one ingredient, then the whole thing starts to make a much more sinister kind of a story. Everybody, hug your children. Love your children. Tell them you love them. If they are listening to these sorts of stories, do not let them think for a second that this kind of thing can happen to them. Let them know you are going to keep them safe. You are there for them. This is television. We don't let these stories bleed into our children's psyches. Hopefully these will be cautionary tales for the rest of us. But for the grace of God, there go I. This does not happen to most of us. This happened to this guy. It doesn't fit any profile that I know of that would make sense in terms of this having been murder. But this man did participate in this child's demise, and he will have to pay a price no matter what, whether or not it was premeditated or somehow an active demise on his dad participating. I choke on those words. I can't even say it. But the facts will come out. Everyone thinks she's probably pouring salt through that cup, but I'll tell you what's perhaps even more disturbing. That cup may have been pure water as she panicked, realizing what she had done, and was trying to restore the child's sodium balance by pouring a large amount of H2O into his system, which would restore his sodium balance back towards normal. But if you do that too rapidly, it causes swelling in the brain. When the brain swells, it comes up against the bone and it squashes. And I have a suspicion that may be what happened here.
If this is Munchausen's by proxy, she's getting the attention, the sympathy. She wouldn't want him to die because then it's over. That's why she is on suicide watch right now. Her entire life and her identity of being the mother of the sick boy is now over.
And I will just remind people, this is another case in which social media friends are not real friends. It's not a support network. The point is she had lots of social media attention, and that is a pseudo-intimacy that will not serve as a supportive network for somebody that's trying to raise a child or somebody with mental illness.
I think a lot of people were anticipating an emotional reaction, but in my mind, from a psychological perspective, there's a thing called acute stress reaction, and this happens when people are told traumatic or intense news.
Everyone's first reaction is disbelief, and with that disbelief goes a certain amount of disconnect, and it takes a variable period of time to get back in your body and try to process what's going on.
From one perspective, there is that shock, that moment where he's kind of dumbfounded and confused, and from the other perspective, somebody can be an extremely good actor, as we have seen with other deceptive people in the past. So you can't really tell basically from what we've seen.
God forbid someone should put a camera in our face and examine every move we make, and particularly when we're in an intense situation. I mean, you can second guess everything.
We have so much access now with the internet to health information that everyone thinks they're their own doctor.
Oh my God.
They can just look up something on WebMD and diagnose themselves.
Listen, let me just give a quick 2 seconds primer on the fact that information is not knowledge, it's not wisdom, it's not applied knowledge. It's not. The stuff that you learn on the internet is stuff that physicians know when they finish their second year of medical school. Then they have another 8 or 10 years of training and experience in the world with this information. That's where wisdom comes from. That's where the knowledge base comes from. It's not about the information you read there. So our most tweeted about story of the day, the so-called hot felon, Jeremy Meeks. Social media is creating news now, and it's things that people want to chat about.
Yeah, but then people perpetuate it, too, by retweeting and commenting
I understand, but
sharing.
that makes it news. That's a new thing. That's a kind of a news.
Okay, yes, this picture caused such a sensation all week. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Personally, not my cup of tea. I'm sorry. I don't want the teardrop Lil Wayne I killed someone thing. That is not hot to me at all. Just saying.